Hey guys! Welcome back to Luna the Book Moth. This is Mornstar the Maiden Voyage, Chapter 6. Please don't re-upload my stuff, and enjoy. Chapter 6. The soft breeze blew on Dawn's face and woke her at the foot of the mountain. She watched the puffy dandelions sway back and forth in front of her eyes. Everything seemed so tranquil and fresh. She widened her eyes with a smile and pushed off of the ground. She got up and spent a time just walking around peacefully. Such a morning was more peaceful than all the soothing music in the world, and simply must be celebrated. At the foot of the mountain was a sparse forest, in that the trees were not too close together. In this forest she wandered as if something was calling her. She followed the dandelion seeds as they scattered into the wind. The light was growing, and the breeze was blowing lightly on Dylan's face, and he awoke. He saw the same dandelions, and felt the same peace, but not for long. He jumped up to wake Dawn, but noticed she wasn't there. "Dawn! Where did you get off to?" He scratched his shoulder, then stretched up high. There was no answer. "Dawn?" He saw footprints made of crushed grass blades, so he followed them. The sun was gliding in between the branches above and sparkling on the dew that still thrived in the shade. But Dylan had no time for such beauty, as his heart was driven by panic. "Dawn! Dawn! Dawn!" He was sprinting through the woods, looking every which way until he came to a clearing. There, on a large rock, sat Dawn. She looked peaceful, and dandelion seeds fluttered around her like little insects. "Dawn." A sigh of relief escaped his lips. She looked at him.
"Hush, you'll scare them away."
Quietly, he climbed the rock to see what she was talking about. In her hands were two baby birds, with fluffy down the color of dandelion fluff. Where did they come from?
"I was following the dandelion seeds and found these two on top of this great rock. They seem to be made of the fluff, don't they?"
"Yeah. Maybe you made them?"
"I believe so, yes."
Dawn had been walking peacefully until she recalled the events of her dream. She thought about it almost entirely. She had been fused with the heart. She wondered then why she hadn't been destroyed. Perhaps because she was pure of heart? She had found the two dandelion seeds gently perched atop the rock. She climbed up and held them in her hands. She closed her eyes and thought about a very old memory, the memory of when her mother took her flying for the first time. She was very afraid. The sky was so big, and what if she fell? She shrank from the edge. "Dear, are you ready?" Dawn shook her head. "Then I will help you." Her mother crouched down beside her. "My dearest, hold my hand and I shan't let you fall."
"What if I can't do it?"
Her mother smiled. "Hold yourself up. Believe in every ounce of yourself and you will fly. You may fall every now and then, but the important thing is that you reach and pull yourself up again. Even the baby birds must fall before they fly, and yet, when they have learned, they are masters of the sky. Keep that in mind and you will soar." When she opened her eyes, she found two tiny chicks made of dandelion fluff. "Don't you think we ought to go?"
"Perhaps, but I'd hate to just leave them here. They would have only been in the world for a short time. I would be very sad to think that they would just return to being seeds and lose their lives in just walking away."
"I thought you said nothing had the power to give life."
"No, but the seeds were already full of life. I think I just changed their form."
"How would you care for these little birds? We're constantly on the move. We'll have to leave them here."
"I suppose you're right. It's not my place to change and alter."
She started to cry on the small chicks. "You gave new life to simple seeds. They didn't ask for this. Maybe they just want to return back to what they were. Leave them here and they will have a chance, but not with us." Dawn nodded and set the little chicks down gently on the rock and climbed down. Dylan led her back through the clearing, but she glanced back. The chicks were staring at her with their heads cocked to one side. She started crying again, and they walked back to camp, leaving only 2 small dandelion seeds on the rock behind them. They ate and packed up their camp, then started moving in another direction through the woods. The whole time they walked, Dylan led with Dawn holding onto his hand.
"They didn't understand,"
she whispered. The shade of the trees was a good change from the mountain where there were none. They walked in silence for a time until she spoke again.
"I suppose it was the right thing to do. They probably couldn't have made it anyway. And anyway, they'll probably make really pretty flowers and cover the whole of that clearing with dandelions. That would be pretty, don't you think?"
I really do.
Dawn thought inside that her mother would be happy with what she had done.
It was very grown up to let go, she thought. The falling shadows cloaked the soft grass and hid away the little things. The sunlight twinkled in fractured pieces between the branches. Still, they went on walking through this forest, not knowing where it would take them. It was nearly noon when they took a break to view the mountain behind them. It was still very big, but that was to be expected. One can't make a mountain look like a small hill just by a day's travel, much less half a day.
"Just think, we climbed all the way down that great mountain."
"Yeah, we did it in just a day and a half." They divided up the rest of the food and had lunch.
"Not much left,"
Dawn said between mouthfuls. "True. We'll need to find more before we can move on."
"Maybe I could change the form of whatever we find into something else."
"You really think it's safe to do that? Do you even know how?"
"Well, I believe I can. How am I going to get better if I don't practice?"
"Still, you shouldn't get so cocky. Suppose something were to happen."
"I should be able to reverse it. And besides, what bad could come with that?"
"I don't know." They paused for a moment before Dawn changed the topic.
"I had a dream last night that gave me information about the curses."
"Really? What kind of information?"
"Well, there is a curse inside the heart that will destroy whoever awakens it, first of all. Also, the other 6 curses are down here somewhere, and the Mark of Arrows was given to the exiled prince, further solidifying my theory that you have Sarliti ancestors."
"If there's a curse in the heart, then that could be very bad if someone else finds it first." Dawn nodded and continued eating her bread. They had just finished eating and were resting against a big rock, watching the clouds, when Dylan's hand suddenly lit up and lifted him off the ground. Blue-green energy emitted from it and swirled around him. It set him on the ground again and pulled him along through the woods. "Dawn! Help!" She quickly grabbed the bag that had been packed up earlier and ran to follow Dylan. The forest grew darker and colder. As she ran, brambles and thorns cut her face, but she did not stop. Where Dylan went, brambles and thorns grew up behind him as if to cut her off. Low-hanging branches caught her hair, but she was so determined that she pulled and simply let her hair get pulled out to be free. Her scalp was bloody and her face was covered in scrapes and cuts when she emerged at a mound of earth. She slowly walked around it and investigated thoroughly. A doorway was found on the outside of the mound, with writing similar to the tomb on the mountain. She ran her fingers across the writing, and a memory from her dream came back to her. "You may have your revenge someday." She gasped and ran into the tomb. She found Dylan tightly bound by the curses with his hand pressed against a stone tablet. A purple smoke poured from it and swirled about the room. The other curse had wrapped around him so that he could not move or even speak, as it had wrapped around his mouth also. It kept his hand in place, even though it would not release even if he wanted it to. He struggled against them, but it was no use. As she watched the awful scene, her king's crest lit up and floated in front of her. She knew what she had to do, and clutched the king's crest in her hand. The light brightened the whole room, and the curses fled, releasing Dylan. He hovered in place, then gently landed unconscious on the floor.
"Dylan!"
She let go of the crystal and ran to her friend's side.
Dylan, are you all right? Speak to me.
Dawn shook him violently until he awoke. Dawn? He started and sat up. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not eaten. I swear these curses are going to be the death of me.
Actually, we might have a problem regarding them.
Dawn, what do you mean?
It was said in my dream last night that the curses were given a chance to exact their revenge. That mark on your hand allows the curses to go into you and become as one. If we find them all, then you could hypothetically use their power, but more likely they would use you until they get what they want, then consume you.
And this is supposed to be what kind of news?
The bad kind, of course.
That's what I thought. But what can we do about it? I have 2 curses in my hand.
I don't know. This is about as dangerous as it's gonna get, so you should go home now.
No. My home was destroyed and so was yours. I'm going to get you home, even if I have to be at the mercy of flesh-eating curses.
I suppose it may get more dangerous. Okay, you can stay. But one more and that's it. You promised.
I promised, but it really isn't my fault. I didn't ask to be or think I would be some kind of curse magnet.
That's true. Let's get out of here. It's creepy.
Once again, they were on the ramp leading outside when they heard a shuffling. The stone tablet did as the other did and rolled up to Dylan. He picked it up and let Dawn read it.
It says that this curse is the curse of the dark. It has the power to make a world of light shrouded in darkness and turn even the most peaceful of places to dreadful wastelands.
What did the other one do again? You know, the curse of the lost?
It has the power to create confusion in enemies, to make their minds wander and leave their bodies defenseless.
Cool. Sort of. What will they do to me?
Nothing, unless the 7 curses are reassembled, and that won't happen because the last one is in the heart.
Dylan nodded as they made their way out of the dark crypt. The woods outside were bright with light now that the dark curse was gone. The thorns and brambles shrank into the ground, and the trees regained their bright leaves. In the light, it was apparent how hurt Dawn really was, as her hair was stained red and black with dried blood, and her face was red with cuts. Dawn, you're hurt!
Huh? Oh, with so much going on, I hardly noticed. She smiled.
Hadn't noticed? Your head is coated in blood! Come on, we'll get you taken care of. Dylan took Dawn's hand and marched her back to the clearing. There he washed the blood out of her hair and her face too. I recognized some of these plants from when Mother would take me to the fields. She told me how to use them for certain remedies and what to use for each. He mixed and crushed plants of different kinds into a paste, then smeared it into her hair and on her face gently. Soon there was a thin layer of refreshing plant medicine on all her wounds.
That does feel better. I didn't realize just how much it hurt until it didn't anymore. Thank you.
We're friends, aren't we? We need to take care of each other. The sun was going down, so they sat on their rock and bathed in the fading light. In the morning, the breeze was fresh as ever, and they were ready to start on their journey again. Dylan helped to scrape off and reapply the medicine as well as pack more. There was no food for breakfast, so they went on walking and didn't talk much. Each morning, early on, the stars shone bright through the blue sky before the sun outshone them all. Their small voices were a great comfort to Dawn, who was at this moment greatly missing her home. In the middle of the silence, she was compelled to sing with them. The sky may be my brother, the clouds may be my bed, the sun may be my mentor, the moon may rest my head. The stars, they are my nightlight, the stars, they are my friends. The sky is not my brother, the stars are not my friends. Dylan smiled when she sang. What was that song about?
It's called The World Shall Be My Cradle. It's about the world being a guardian to those who can see it as such. Eventually, the writer of the song comes back to say that these guardians are not loving and friendly, but forces of nature.
That sounds nice. Will you sing another? She nodded and complied. My crown is heavy to bear,
Though I bear it everywhere, there is no trouble they can't resolve when they know I am there. My crown is heavy to bear, like thorns it cuts into my head. But though I am tired, still I see a light that destroys all despair. If I were to cast off my crown, if I were to run with the clouds, to dance with the wind in the meadows, my joy would find no bounds. But my crown is heavy to bear, and I bear it everywhere. I cannot cast it off, you see, for it is my crown to bear.
Her voice made him think of a king casting off his crown to become wind itself. He plucked flowers and ran his hand along the grass. He flew among the birds and perched in the trees, but he could not cast off his heavy crown to do this. That song was very sad.
Oh? How so?
That poor king can't do what he wants. Instead, he has to do what others want.
No, he is doing what others need. That is the point of being a good king, denying yourself to help and care for your people.
But still, it's sad. Dawn sang another song, but as he listened, he realized it was the same song.
How happy I am to bear this crown upon my head. It fills my soul with gladness, for all I know are friends. Some may call it sorrow, some may call it pain, but I find joy in bearing this crown upon my name. I watch my people flourish, to live in a place like this. I long to watch them forever. This crown is my only wish. My crown may be heavy to bear, but I'll bear it everywhere. This peace shall not last forever, but it shall while I am there.
This part of the song was perhaps more important than the last. It held distant memories of happy people, happy because their king had made a place and era in which they could be happy. I see it now. I can see what it means to be king. But isn't it hard to bear that kind of pain in silence?
Very hard. But when you are caring for people you love, all that pain and sorrow just...
She moved her hands in front of her, then let them drop to her sides.
Melt away,
she finished. Dylan could see that she knew very well what she meant. He could see this ruler and how he led his life, but knew that ruler could not be him. I see. It seems like a good king, one that doesn't destroy cities or kill people. Death doesn't follow him with fire or magic, but keeps at bay while he uses those things for the good of his people. Dawn rested her hands behind her head.
Spoken like a true Starliti.